Let's look at the construction picture. Some very dramatic earthworks had to happen to create this body of water. And what is so wonderful is by bringing in this body of water, in a way you make the shoreline longer. There's more shoreline and more linear footage for people to enjoy the water's edge.
Yes, the contractor had plenty of problems, as you can imagine, digging out and pumping to keep the water level down so that the contractor could do the excavation, and they did a grand job. And then, as you can see here, we brought in the characteristic edge detail. Originally, they had proposed having a high wall, but my office, we really thought that we'd like to get the people closer to the water, and we'd like to have the basin small enough so you could recognize someone on the other side. So we actually made the basin a little bit smaller than it had been originally proposed, and we had a lower level that you had to go down to, and we made that accessible, of course.
Once I took a visitor there, and they said, well, this is the ideal way of having water in the city. You have people living there, you have people working there, you have people eating there. We'll see details of that. Everything comes together. You have the Museum of Science there. This is really all the functions of urbanity are combined there, and boats, and it's really an amazing area. And although the Charles River as a whole is a beautiful area, but there you brought it to a scale that can really be enjoyed on a more intimate scale.
So we bring the reservation, the Charles River Reservation, into the urban core.
Yeah.
And I like to think that the Kennedy Park does the same. We have that alley that connects Harvard Square out to the reservation. Here we have the Lechmere Canal that connects East Cambridge out to the river.
And it's so close to downtown. This picture really points out it's just over the Craigie Bridge, and there you are. It's all very close, and I know you're now working on the park just downriver from the Museum of Science, and so that all will come together, this area. Well, we need to move on and show of how it looks now completed. With the wonderful tree lining, and you mentioned the beautiful edge along here. Another very interesting feature is that as you walk along here, you can go underneath the bridge, something that I hope will be repeated elsewhere, so you don't have to go up and then fight with the traffic and go down again, but pedestrians can stay on the water, at the water's edge, to go there.
Pedestrians and cyclists.
Yes, I know you're a big cyclist. Yeah. Let's look at the wonderful fountain. This fountain, which reminds me a lot of the Jet d'eau in Geneva, that is really a landmark there. How did this idea come about?
Well, this idea, we must give plenty of credit to the Cambridge Community Development Group. They had an idea for a fountain there, and we had our dear partner, John Gustafson, who did the Kennedy Fountain and all the fountains that we did at that time. And he just took delight in solving the idea of this fountain. And what's great is that there are little tourist boats that come in, so there's so much activity both on the water and with the water.
Yes, yeah, it's wonderful. And we have also again some wonderful images of the tree growth, of how those trees really transformed that area.
That's right. You can't even see the willow tree in this picture. Here's the same place, the same benches, and the trees are doing well.
Yeah, that they like the willows. Now we need to move through these pictures quickly to show the water's edge, a wonderful place for people to enjoy. At lunchtime, it's packed with people on the benches.
And we have beautiful colors in the fall.
Yeah, and then the Galleria, use the bicycles, the people, you mentioned the boats. And there's also residential units right there, hundreds of units at Graves Landing, all the people enjoying those water views and the people sitting on the water's edge there. And one thing that I particularly like on the picture is people sitting in the restaurant. This is it's probably the only place along the Charles where you can sit on the water's edge and have a meal.
Yes, I'm very pleased. We saw another detail like this in Baltimore, and the plants were all being destroyed by people walking down. So we put up that railing,
Yeah.
and people lean against it, but they don't walk through the plants.
Yeah, it's a wonderful thing. And we have some other areas with a wonderful gazebo there, which has also great interpretation, tells the story of the neighborhood. Mm-hmm. A wonderful thing. So I hope that we will entice people to go there, and I know you lecture extensively about that, and maybe some of our viewers want to learn more about it. And that's another project. We don't have time to talk about that today, about part of the Big Dig, parcel 29F, North Point Park, where a lot is happening, including the skate park. It's right in there. Mm-hmm. So a wonderful project you're working on. But I think we will need to leave it here, and I want to thank you for coming today, talking to us. And also I want to thank the Boston Foundation that makes it possible for us to do those television shows. And I hope maybe some other time we can talk about the other parks you've done. You've done also the Chinatown Park,
yes, right.
part of the Rose Kennedy Greenway. And so thank you for coming today, and hope we can continue that conversation.
Thank you. I've enjoyed being here and enjoyed talking about some of my favorite things.
Thank you, and good night.